Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the office supplies niche. Created in December 2016, this business makes $6,963 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 44286. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. How are you doing today, Eric?
Hey everyone, my name's Eric, calling in from Manila. Doing well.
Yeah, thanks for, coordinating to get on the phone with me. I know it's hard when there's a big time difference, but I'm really looking forward to our chat today.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so before we get to the questions that I have for you today, I want to go ahead and run through a quick summary of the business again. The business was built in December of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $20,817, expenses of $13,854 to make for a net profit of $6,963, which is generated on a 6-month average. Included in the sale of this business are 3 SKUs and a Shopify site. Inventory is not normally included in the list price. Further details can be provided to active depositors. Eric, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so I've been doing e-commerce for a few years now. It's been 10 and a half years. I've been doing e-commerce since I was really young on the days of eBay. I specialize with a background of visual design in finding categories which, let's say, there's high revenue opportunity, and irrespective of the amount of competition, I will find a way to create visually more aesthetic listings, which will help generate a higher CTR, click-through rate, and a higher CRO, conversion rate. And so the result was a business that did very well. New release, Amazon Choice, bestseller badge at times that you see here. And so that's what it is.
Yeah, and so how did you stumble upon this particular niche? Is it something that you are familiar with personally, or is it something that you were just doing research and trying to find something that would sell and you stumbled upon it?
It was over a year ago. I don't recall the exact, methodology I used, but I do have a very good methodology for picking products.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my in-house methodology. But yeah, the product does perform very well though.
So why are you selling the business today?
Yeah, well, I have lots of SKUs and too few of me. So, my attention is spread thin across a lot of efforts and a lot of businesses I have nowadays. So I need to reduce the amount of, work on my plate. And also by getting an influx of cash, I can use it to hire and bring on better team members, which will help free up time and let me grow faster.
So looking back over the last year with the numbers for the business, you notice that the last few months, November, December, January, are very high. And then back in July, there was also a spike for, profit made for the business. What is the reason for the spikes?
Yeah, it's actually not a seasonal business. The dip in September, October was because of a massive stock out. So it's actually a pretty steady product. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 months, we're just everything from trying to get it to rank to A/B testing to figuring out the perfect combination of price, visuals, copywriting, etc., to maximize the ranking and the sales, right? And so once I got it to stick, it did very well. It exceeded inventory forecasting and it stocked out. But as soon as I restocked, sales were back up to normal. So it's been holding steady at the previous, where was July and August before the stock out, that same 11,000 a month. It's pretty much hitting that consecutively. And this coming month, when it closes, I suspect it'll probably go a little bit higher, actually above 11,000.
And how does it primarily make money? It's an Amazon business, correct?
Amazon FBA business.
Yeah, so can we just kind of walk through the Amazon FBA process for someone who's unfamiliar with it, and can you explain how you handle it?
Yeah. Sales are driven ultimately by 2 things, right? Traffic and conversion. So on the traffic component, it being an Amazon business, it's driven by organic ranking, which has been solidified over time, as well as pay-per-click, which has been finely tuned over time like a guitar. And as far as conversion, that was the whole purpose of the first 4.5 months of A/B testing, was to figure out the perfect combination for the listing, for the visuals, for the price offer for everything, for the whole complete offer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you currently doing for the business in terms of when you put your time into it? What are you doing?
With an Amazon FBA business, the bulk of the efforts is at the beginning, getting it to rank, getting it to be validated as a product high in demand, getting it to drive revenue. That's what the beginning months are for. The bulk of the effort is in the beginning months, and then afterward, it's really just maintenance efforts and making sure you don't stock out, and, inventory stockouts, which is more difficult than what it seems when there's spikes or when the product does exceedingly well. But yeah, it's predominantly inventory forecasting and a tad bit of customer support, maybe 5 messages a day on average of messages for these revenue figures.
And if you had to put a number on the amount of hours that you're putting into the business on a weekly basis, what would you estimate?
Yeah, so what I put on the listing was 5 hours a week because, generally to respond to five Amazon messages, it's like, 20 minutes a day. So, 20 minutes multiplied by five, it's just under 2 hours for customer support. Plus, I factored in another maybe 3 hours for when you do inventory reorders. So it depends on your risk tolerance. Some people like to do reorders once a month. Some people like once every 2 months. So because it takes numerous hours, I just divide what would be a monthly amount of time to do reorder into a weekly amount. But yeah, it really doesn't take too much time though. 5 hours or so a week.
Are you currently doing anything in terms of marketing for the business?
No, it's organic ranking that's been solidified. Pay-per-click, which has been, like I said, finely tuned. It's pretty automated at this point. Just don't. And when the new Amazon buyer takes over, the way it'll work is all the pay-per-click campaigns will just like download it and send it to him or her. All the bids, the keywords that are being targeted, daily budgets. So this way, it's copy and paste. It's very easy for them to get the same thing that we had figured out as far as the perfect combination of keywords to target. So, and for the organic ranking, yeah, that's not an issue at all because, when a new buyer takes over, they just list on the same listing, same catalog listing. So organic ranking maintains the same. And like I said, the PPC ranking and the PPC performance would maintain the same because we just copy and paste keyword to bids in the budget to the new seller.
And there's a Shopify storefront set up for the business. How does that perform compared to the Amazon side of things?
Yeah, so all these numbers in the P&L are strictly Amazon FBA. The Shopify is basically a freebie I threw in, even though, I had it created. I spent some money to get it created. That's not, factored in. So it's basically a freebie for you guys, the Shopify business. It's already created. It generates, I would probably say a rough number would be one sale a week, but we've done zero. So and we haven't done a lick of advertising. So if you actually spend something on Facebook advertising, I'm sure you could get more sales if you actually put some effort into putting in meta tags for ranking on Shopify, the back end. I'm sure you could get sales. A basic Shopify course, we haven't done any of that. We just created a site and kind of forgot about it and, said we would look at it later. But, we've been focusing on Amazon, not Shopify.
Yeah, so with the Amazon foundation already in place and it's in place, in a strong position, as you've spoken about, a good opportunity for someone to come in who has experience in SEO work, who has experience in Google AdWords and Facebook marketing. They could really grow the Shopify side of things while the Amazon side of things, it's already set. You have a really strong foundation. As you said, when someone comes in and takes over the business, a lot of the, all of the stuff will stay in place. But what do you feel are the big opportunities for growth that a new owner should take advantage of?
Yeah, there's a lot of areas. So one is obviously the Shopify business. It's built. Probably just pump some money into Facebook advertising and you'll start seeing sales right away. That's one thing. Super easy. No effort there. Also, there's 3 SKUs which together make what you see here for revenue and profit. And they're all in the same category, broad category, and they're all in the same subcategory for office supplies. And so the subcategory within office supplies, which would be revealed at a later time, they're all in the same category, but one of the 3 SKUs, the sales has been down. So obviously it's not a market issue because the other 2 sales have maintained, if not actually increased. It's not a review issue because all of them have very, perfect review scores 5 out of 5 in the dozens for each of them. So it's not a review issue. It's likely just a ranking issue, just trying to figure out like what's driving sales for the other two, and and then just playing with it on PPC or organic for that third variation. So yeah, getting the third variation sales up, that's one thing you could do. Also to Shopify. Also other areas would be, from time to time, we've gotten people who have ordered from us from banks and insurance companies. And so that's definitely an area of interest. So, those were only like one-time orders. So I was nice, the business undervalued so many different ways because I didn't even factor in the revenue or profit that generated those transactions. But yeah, there has been occasional orders, sizable figures, 500 units or 2,000 units from bank and insurance companies. But we don't have the extra time to be cold calling banks and insurance companies. But if the new buyer, soon to be seller, had more of a team, or they wanted to hire a VA to help them with English-speaking sales abilities, I would highly recommend to reach out to banks and insurance companies, because obviously that's a strong area of opportunity because we've had past interest, past orders in that sector. So obviously this product appeals well to banks and insurance companies as well, to Amazon FBA.
Is the third SKU not selling well? Is that a new thing that's come up in the last few months, or has it always been much lower than the other two?
When it first launched, I don't know the numbers like exactly off the top of my head, so I'm paraphrasing here, but
Yeah.
when it first launched, it did very well. But I mean, we just did so much A/B testing with all the products, and maybe something we did was a bad A/B test. We kind of, I guess, probably just forgot about it and forgot to fix it. But yeah, so the third variation, its sales has been down for probably 3-4 months. So yeah, it's well reflected in the P&L. And you barely even see it in the chart because the other two of the three are just doing so well. So the other third one, it doesn't really reflect. So yeah, like I said, it's not a market issue because there's overwhelming demand for the other two variations. It's just a matter of like figuring out like that third variation, what keyword did it lose rank for, that it needs help for, right?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So one of the key opportunities that we've mentioned is utilizing Facebook marketing, social media marketing. Have you set up those accounts, or is that something that a new owner who has that interest, would they have to start from scratch with social media?
Yeah, so let's recap a bit. If they were to do Facebook advertising, they're not starting from scratch. The hardest part is creating a nice landing page, and this website is nice. My background is I used to work for Google, optimizing conversion rate, and so the website's nice. So yeah, it's nice. So yeah, all they have to do is, if I was to do it, if I was in their shoes, it's super basic. That same list of PPC keywords for Amazon, copy and paste it, plug it into Facebook. If you wanted to, you could even copy the bids and just plug it into Facebook, and then just put a budget of maybe $20 a day and let it run for a month, see what happens, and then up bid, down bid keywords or remove keywords. But it's super simple, because the hardest part you have to realize is figuring out what keywords to target and creating the landing page. And both of those have already been done, right? Landing page is already created. The keywords, we already know what performs well from the Amazon PPC. So at this point, it's pretty easy. Yeah, you just have to plug in a credit card and copy and paste those keywords and then let it run and see how it goes. But you'll probably do well.
Are there any big risks associated with this business that you feel a buyer should be aware of?
Nothing immediate comes to mind. No. It's a pretty steady product. What you have to realize is, reasons why people may be averse to buying a business, an FBA business, is, there's a few reasons, right? So one, if let's say the market's declining, right? If the market's declining, which is pretty obvious, if the revenue is declining for the business, then they have to be wary. But for this business, it's been pretty steady. Sometimes people are wary of seasonal businesses, or up and down, but this business has been pretty steady. If you factor out the stock out, which caused September, October to be down, it's been really steady actually. What else? Product quality is very good. All the products have dozens of 5-star reviews, so the product's high quality. It's easy to sell a product that's made well to start versus having to combat bad feedback. There's a lot of freebies in the business, which make it, I think, in my opinion, really undervalued, because the website's already created and that's being thrown in this freebie. So So that's pretty easy. And the PPC keywords have already been figured out. So all the Facebook advertising efforts are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, like you've said, you have all the systems in place to have a strong Amazon FBA business. You have the Shopify site all set up, ready to go. It's a good looking site. If someone comes in, they just got to do the marketing for it and try to get people to the site and but the site's all set up, all of that's ready to go. I mean, it's certainly got a lot of, opportunities for growth, but at the same time, on the Amazon end, it's very solid, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have one final set of questions, and these are going to pertain to, when it's time to sit down with a buyer and, make a deal. So would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, that's fine.
And how much support are you willing to offer a buyer during the transition period?
Yeah, I wrote it down in the listing. I believe it was what I said was roughly off the top of my head. I'm paraphrasing here, but I said 30-day email support, and then a member of my staff could do a second month of additional support. And of course, I'd be happy to do 3 1-hour phone calls. But you have to realize that business is not transitioned until all the necessary resources or know-how to run the business has been transferred. So don't get held up on amount of time in hours or email, because for the business to be transferred, the minimum know-how needs to be transferred as well for you during the vetting period to experience the same amount of sales as I was to a relative degree. So don't worry about know-how being transferred. It will be.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm sure that's reassuring. So, I mean, obviously the best case scenario is that someone comes along and offers a 100% cash offer of what you're looking for the business. But if that didn't happen, are you open to negotiating about an earnout?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to it. I mean, obviously, I think when people look at the product, they're going to realize it's pretty darn good product. I mean, I know the call I've had already, like, they're really interested. So yeah, I'm open to an earnout. Yeah, obviously the more competitive for upfront, the better, because you're bidding against other people of interest. But yeah, I'm open to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. And thank you for taking the time with me right now. I know it's early in the morning, or early-ish for me, but it's getting late for you. So I do appreciate us being able to hop on the phone here. Before I let you go, though, I do have one final question for you. But before we get to that, I want to go ahead and run through that quick summary of the business again. The business was built in December of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $20,817, expenses of $13,854 to make for a net profit of $6,963, which is generated on a 6-month average. Included in the sale of this business are 3 SKUs and a Shopify site. Please note that inventory is not normally included in the list price. Further details can be provided to active depositors. Eric, can you give me your best recap on, everything we've spoken about, and give me your best 30-second pitch on why someone should purchase this business?
Sure thing. I'll probably run over a little bit. Yeah. The business is a very good buy because of a few reasons. If you think about the most successful products on Shark Tank, one of the few that has been very successful has been Scrub Daddy. Scrub Daddy is a sponge. And the reason why the sponge was so successful is because it's wide market appeal. I can't reveal too much of specifics about the product, but it's very much so wide market appeal. Because of that, the amount of different channels and different horizontal ways you can take this product is very numerous. And so it's very easy to increase your revenue. Also, there's strong demand, which is shown in the line graph. There's no market issues. There's no decline. That's good. There's a strong review score. All 3 of the SKUs have dozens of 5-star reviews. Also, the margin and the ROI is very healthy, very good. And there's a freebie included, which is a Shopify store, which is a complete freebie because, I'm not handing over the cost of me to build that. Yeah, and as far as ways to increase the sales, figuring out what happened to the one of the 3 SKUs that has had for several months now, sales has been down. Like I said, there's not a market issue. Other ways to expand sales would be wholesale, right? Because it has wide market appeal, like I hinted. And also just pumping Facebook advertising to the Shopify site that's already been created by somebody just copy and pasting the PPC words from the Amazon, which would be revealed at the time that the business transfer happens.
Yeah, I mean, for my part, I like businesses that have good opportunities to grow it, but also have the strong foundation that this business currently has with the Amazon side of things. So if you were to come in and just sit on the business and do exactly what Eric is doing, you'll put in maybe 5 hours of work a week, but you'll continue to make that steady profit level of about $7,000 a month. And, as he said, the recent numbers have actually been higher and they're very steady. It's a product that has wide appeal, and it's just, it's a very steady, safe business with other opportunities. I mean, that's at least how I see the business. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jake.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you, and you will be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.